Hello, adventurers, and Happy New Year, and welcome to Grognard and Friends. Mr. G, your friendly neighborhood Grognard here, coming to you from the secret underground bunker where, along with my friends, we play our version of Dungeons and Dragons. All of us here at Grognard and Friends would like to wish all of you a very happy, healthy, and safe 2022, filled with lots of surprises and exciting new adventures. Grognard and Friends is now on Twitch and YouTube. This holiday season, you may have heard that every time a bell sounds, an angel gets its wings. But what you may not have heard is that every time you follow or subscribe to Grognard and Friends, we here at the channel are then blessed with a new friend. And you can never have too many friends. And finally, as a public service announcement, the powers that be have reminded me this evening to remind you that Grognard and Friends are dry clean only. So now let's check in with the friends and start this week's episode of Grognard and Friends. When last we left the friends, they had 3 spirited visitations, which led to a tip of where their friend, the gobnapped Butt Trumpet, was being held. So in the early morning hours, our friends found themselves at an old school in the western parts of the Shadow Streets, with Reed and Vivalda taking the lead by going into the building through the bell tower on the roof. They discovered much, and with Reed deceptively passing himself off as one of the gobnappers, were able to let the rest of the friends in without being discovered by the rest of the building. And thanks to Gaius's brilliant use of a silence spell, the friends made their way through the first floor undiscovered, even with a number of encounters, and Vivalda's psychotic and gory reigns of terror and bloodlust, which were all surprisingly followed by huge bouts of guilt and shame on her part. Throw in the literal cooking of some enemy bodies, and you have an idea of the thorough and precise planning that the friends ran like clockwork with meticulous attention to every systematic detail. Or maybe not. So, friends, you find yourself in the basement, surrounded by the bodies of your enemies. Reed has opened the cage, a bell has sounded, and Gaius, you hold before you a sack. What do you do?
I pick up said sack and then rip it open like a party favor of some form or another.
Okay. Inside, you see 2 great big yellow eyes.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Papa?
Really? Whatever. All right. And I remove, just kind of reach in and just pick up, I assume by hopefully the back of the shirt. Well, got it. We got them.
Excellent work, everyone. I can finally sleep well again.
Eldred says, before you go napping, we may want to remember that some bells have sounded.
Yes.
Oh, Butt Trumpet? Yeah. Wonderful to have you back. We may have to leave in a hurry. Are you good to go?
I am beyond okay with not being here.
Okay. Quick introduction. Butt Trumpet. That's Viv. Viv, this is Butt Trumpet.
Hello, it's nice to meet you.
This is as close as we're getting to introductions right now. We should probably leave.
So you make it up the stairs, and as you come to the top of the stairs, you can't help but hear, coming from above you, a heavy footfalls, like.
Back door?
Duh.
And then from this doorway over here, you're hearing a bunch of scrambling down the hall.
Yep. And Gaius points at the door, by the kitchen sink. That one there. That's the door we want to use.
I can
And
cover us if you want.
No, Reed, you definitely... you
You've
go
taken
somewhere in
enough
the
of
middle of the
beating.
pack.
With
Do
my
you
bow.
need me to
Okay.
lead the front?
Yes, go. Just someone go. Anyone go.
Go.
All right. I'll take the
Guys,
front.
I'm
I'll go
following
up the
everybody.
door.
Guys opens the door. He's
I'm
like,
going-
underlay.
I'm going to.
I don't
Try
speak
to
that
move.
language, Eldred says.
Learn it. I don't...
I'm.
Get cultured, man. Get outside.
Nikita.
I would like to move. Does the countertop where the two peelers were standing previously? Does the countertop move?
It
that
does.
a
It's
table?
very solid, though, but it does move.
Then I would like to do my best to close the door from the hallway and push that in front of it while they're escaping behind me.
You got it. Give me a strength check with advantage. No problem. You got that. Also, Gaius, I need you to give me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, no.
Oh dear.
Well, that's not good.
Oh.
Okay, we will deal with that when the time presents itself a little more in the middle of business.
Of course.
Okay, so you come out the door. What direction do you go?
Or are we in the alley that we were
Yes,
in
you
earlier?
are. You see a familiar well and barrel to your left.
I would probably head left towards where we hid the bodies in the alley once again.
Okay.
Unless I started seeing them go a different direction, then I would have followed them.
And then close the door once everyone's out.
Weren't raised in a barn.
Nope. That's right. Manners.
I actually was, but okay.
We'll just pretend you weren't.
The shock.
You start hearing a very loud gonging bell from overhead.
They're ringing the bell
Yes.
tower.
Let's go
Am
to
I
the
able-
body.
Okay.
I was going to say, let's go to the body alley and just hightail it north-ish.
Reed,
Sure.
Yes.
does an 18 hit you?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
We're getting shot.
Take 5 points of damage, and Gaius, in front of you, you see Reed. A crossbow bolt comes down and lands between his shoulder blades, kind of at an angle.
Ooh, that's going to take a...
Can I see where that's being shot from?
Give me a perception check, please.
Okay.
Am I close enough for my reaction to for protection to try to make that attack roll on a disadvantage?
No.
I can...
Oh.
Okay.
No. Vivalda, you have no idea where that came from.
Well, we are just starting off strong tonight. Can I move up and cast a spell on Reed, Paul?
Sure. You're going.
So-
It's going. What's the length of casting the spell? What's the time it takes?
An action, so like a single second.
Okay.
Less than a second? What is it, like 6
6
seconds,
seconds.
per turn? So I go up to Reed and just... As I grip the arrow and yank it out, I'm casting Cure Wounds
Okay.
for 12 hit points.
Okay, Reed. As you are moving along, you feel a hand go on your shoulder. Some words being said. And all of a sudden, you have this immense pain for something being ripped from your shoulder blades, followed by a as it seems to heal you.
Very good. Much better. Thank you.
Vivalda, does a 14 hit you?
No, I don't believe so. Let me double check though. Why can I not? Nope, doesn't hit.
Okay. You feel something whiz past you, and Butt Trumpet, you feel something kind of go through your hair and bounce on the well in front of you from behind.
There's a
We
platform
have
right up
people on the
above
roof.
us.
Oh,
There is a
goodness.
platform up there.
Was
Reed
there
takes out
anyone
his bow.
left up there?
Reed,
Yes,
does a
there
15
was.
hit you?
Oh shit!
Yes.
Jeez.
2 points of damage. Another bolt hits you. Eldred says, let's get moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
I basically want to take Reed under an arm and shield the both of us using my shield.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
You, Reed, what is your armor class?
15.
15, okay. As you do that, Nikita, just as you get your arm around him, another bolt bounces off the shield.
Why are they
Whoever
all
They really-
is-
Let's go. You've been enough tanking. Time to go.
So
Whoever is
move
nearest to Vivalda,
unless you're going to continue to
should-
stand there, move your tokens. What was that, Vivalda?
I was saying, whoever's closest to Vivalda too, she would also take her shield and shield herself and the other person.
Okay, where is
That
Butt
would be
Trumpet?
me.
That would be
Alright.
Butt Trumpet.
Yeah.
I am shielding myself and Butt Trumpet.
Okay.
I vote piggyback because my legs are small.
Sure.
Yay. Initiated.
She's very light. They're very light. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so you come up to the edge of the building and there's an alley to your left that you're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Here, body alley, body alley.
We're going to explain that
body
to me
alley.
later, right?
Oh, you'll
no.
understand as soon as you turn the corner.
Oh, goody.
Okay, Vivalda, give me a perception check, please. Great.
All right, 18.
As you are kind of in the back bringing up the rear, the last thing you hear as you're passing the well is a lot of crashing of wood and like the scraping of wood on wooden boards. Okay,
I start
continue.
to-
Go on.
Yep. Nope. Just start to move down the alley, if I may.
The one with the bodies or the one towards the larger one?
The one with the bodies,
Okay.
Down this way, guys. You want to go this way?
Yeah. Yes.
Adlichna, on it. Let's go, Reed.
Okay.
It
Does my
won't let my
token-
token go down there.
No, same here.
Okay, well, that's all the bodies in the way. So what we're going to do is,
Magically teleport to the other side of the alley.
well, no, we'll do this Theater of the Mind style from here because I haven't mapped out the entire Shadow Streets. So you head down that alley. That alley will go all the way towards the cliffs. Vivalda, as you're rounding the corner, 2 more crossbow bolts hit the shield and bounce off. And you do hear Eldred behind you take another one. And he makes it around the corner. You make it to the cliffs. That street that's between the Shadow Streets and the cliffs.
Okay.
And do you remember which direction to go, right or left?
I believe
Left.
it came from the right. Oh, never mind.
I think it was
What?
We turned right to get here, so we need to turn left to get out. I'm about 95% on this. No?
I thought we went
Uh,
left and came south. I don't know.
Eldred-
Guys, you would know.
So you're standing at the end there, trying to figure out where you're going. Vivalda, 19. Does that hit?
That would hit, yes.
Okay, 5 points of damage, please. You get a bolt in your shoulder, opposite your shield arm.
Time to go the one where everyone thought was the right direction, correct? Left?
Eldred starts running to the left.
Yep.
Okay.
Gaius is kind of bringing up the
follow
rear
him.
now.
Okay.
With Reed.
Okay, you you're running that way. Vivalda has Butt Trumpet on her back or Piggy or under her arm. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, one of those. Probably
Okay.
switching between them.
That.
You come up to the larger road that you turned down to when you first got here to go towards the building, the old school. And somebody give me a perception check.
I'll try it this time.
Okay, if you're going to be doing it, Gaius,
Yeah.
subtract 3 from your roll. You have 1 point of exhaustion. You haven't slept since you didn't sleep half a night. You slept only like a third of a night last night.
Okay. Well, I got an 21, so -3 from that.
Okay, that's still great. As you pass that large street, you see a bunch of figures in the shadows headed out into the street. One of them you hear, there they are, and a bunch start running up towards you. Some are crossing over, and as you move by, that's all you've seen. But they're about a block and a half away from you at the moment. So,
Yep. Keep hustling.
okay, so you make it down that block. You come to the street that down the street you originally were dropped off. Who's in the lead?
It might be me with Reed, or
Okay. Either Reed or Nikita, give me a perception check, or one of
got
you
it.
can do it with advantage if the other one's helping.
I will help
I got it.
Reed.
Okay.
See well, my young damaged friend.
Yeah, all that blood loss is making them see better for some reason.
Yeah. Woo. I see everything.
Very
Shades of
good.
red.
Reed, down the street, like in the shadows next to a building, you see a carriage and someone standing next to it.
We could try for that carriage.
Do it.
Yes.
Go.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's go.
I can sprint to the carriage too.
Okay.
I've got gold.
Got Butt Trumpet on my back, and I'm just holding them with my one hand and sprinting.
As you
I've got gold somewhere to be.
as you get close, Gaius and one of you give me another perception check with advantage.
I can.
Not you, Vivaldi. You
Just
are
kidding.
probably the only one who can't do this one.
Yeah, I didn't even want to. It's cool.
Yeah, it's whatever, man.
Okay, that's
so-
good.
Whatever.
You recognize a familiar female standing next to the carriage who, before you say, I've got gold, says, I thought it might be you that were dropped off here. The other one of the drivers told me, so I thought maybe you might need some. And
Oh, hell yeah, we do. Double the rate.
Stop talking,
I was going to
start
say a
driving.
golden
Let's go.
person.
Yep, whatever that is. Go.
Get in.
Start
Opens
the
up the
horses.
door and she climbs up on top. And you remember this is Delia, who had helped you out of the shadow streets once before.
And that's why you ask for people's names. Andale, Delia.
Okay.
Just
I think
manners.
he means let's go, but we're not sure.
You hear "Yah!" and the carriage starts taking off a little bit. As you've gotten into the who was last in?
I think Gaius was.
Gaius?
He's a little tired.
Okay.
Is it possible that Viv could have gotten into the front of the carriage with the driver with her
Sure.
longbow so that she can work? Okay. So
Absolutely.
she's sitting next to the carriage driver.
No problem. As you are getting into the
Still
carriage,
on your
Gaius,
shoulders.
Oh, God.
You can climb in through the like little area into the carriage.
Just push the curtain back and fall backwards.
you get in, and two things happen at the exact same time. Gaius, as you're getting in, you see a bolt wing off the back of the carriage and go through the window of the door and disappear. And at the same time, whoever's already in the carriage sees Vivalda's hand come swinging down from above and kind of wings Butt Trumpet into someone's lap. And then you take off. Vivalda, give me a perception check, please.
All right, sure thing. Perception.
That's good enough.
15.
As you're taking off, you notice something off to your left. And as you look, you notice two halflings diving off a building, coming towards the carriage.
I shoot.
What is this? These halflings on some kind of drugs? What is wrong with them?
Halfling blitzkrieg.
That fall will most certainly kill them. I've
Can I
seen
roll a
it
shoot?
happen once
Water
tonight.
boat?
It's raining short men.
Hallelujah.
So, Vivalda, one lands on top of the carriage, and all of you in there hear a... The other one kind of lands and bounces, and the other one grabs him and pulls him on. Vivalda, if you'd like, I'm going to give you a free round if you'd like to do something.
Yes. So since they're right there, like they're within melee range of me, yeah?
Correct.
Then I'll take my long sword and just attack the one closest to me. 22 hit.
That'll definitely hit.
Nope, no
Alrighty.
halfling bosses.
That's 5 slashing damage.
Roll me, we'll do initiative here.
Just for everybody?
No, this is just for Vivalda.
Oh, goodness. I'm having a fight on top of a carriage.
Yep.
Totally,
Oh my God.
totally jealous right now.
You guys get to hear it all happening.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. It's 10.
Okay, they're going to get a shot on you first.
May I briefly?
Nikita?
I'd like to put my shield up to the roof, like I'm standing on the couch, covering Reed and Butt Trumpet, and I'd like, if possible, to occasionally stick a sword up through the roof.
Yeah, I'm curious, Paul. What is the roof made out of? Is it like a canvas? Is it a?
Oh, it's not canvas. It's wood.
Ah.
It's
Okay.
wood.
Well, I'll just hold the shield up then and make sure.
Okay.
It's a shame you could have been like, dance, monkey, dance.
Dance, little halfling fools.
Okay.
Hey.
These are the bad ones, not the good ones
Oh,
like you,
right,
Reed.
right.
Stop, stop bleeding on the couch.
I'm trying. I'm okay. I can still fight. I can do it.
I hope so.
Okay, Vivalda, the one that goes against you gets a 9.
That misses.
Okay. So with a short sword, it kind of goes past your head. The other one goes up to the driver and puts something around their neck and starts pulling back on them, which causes them to pull back on the reins. And inside, you notice the carriage starting to slow down.
What are they choking them with? Is it chains or rope?
It looks like a wire.
Ooh, garrote.
Do I get a turn yet?
Yeah, in a moment, because the next thing you inside the carriage, the other thing you hear is, and near the back, another halfling lands on the top of the carriage, but is kind of pulling himself back up. Part of him was on, part of him was off. Now it is your turn, Vivalda,
Okay.
and you
the
do
one
notice
who's
the
choking-
carriage is slowing down.
The one who's choking
You
the
should reach out the
driver.
window.
I would like to attempt to try to take my longsword and cut through the wire and into the halfling guy who's attacking. Like cut upward into him through the wire.
Okay, so you know.
Cut his
Okay.
hands off.
This wire is brought around the neck
it's really
and then
close.
crossed, and it's very tight. You would
Just kidding.
more
I
than
don't wanna
likely
risk that.
slash the throat of the driver.
Never risk that. I'm going to just try to attack him and try to, like, as much as I can, try to get between him and the driver while attacking him if possible.
Okay. Give me an attack roll.
Okay.
You're also, so you know, on the bench, sharing the bench with the driver. Both of
Okay.
these halflings are actually on top of the carriage.
Okay.
Okay? So to get between them, you'd kind of have to crawl on top of the carriage as you're
Okay.
going across the cobblestones, just to be clear.
I definitely thought I was on top of the carriage when they came to attack, too. So, yeah, I'm cool with climbing up the carriage to get them.
Okay. So 14, that hits.
All right. I'll roll my damage. 7 slashing.
Very nice. Okay. Next round. The one in the back was able to pull himself up, and he is moving. He takes a couple steps and dives over the driver. And if you chance a glance, he's kind of landed half on a horse, half in the rigging between them. But he's kind of not. It's precarious for him at the moment. The one with
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
the one with the wire maintains their grip on the wire, and an 18 to hit you from the one who initially attacked you.
That hits.
Okay,
No.
a 7. So you get 7 from their sword as it comes down on your arm that you've been trying to go against the one with the wire.
Okay.
Okay, now it is your turn.
I'm gonna shout, "A little help!" And I'm going to attack the guy at the wire again, so
Okay.
this driver lives.
Yeah, you see your face kind of real red and getting dark and darkening. Oh, very good.
Yes.
Oh, net 20. All right.
That's all.
You get
Do you have any?
roll me another 20 to see if it's
I was
critical.
gonna ask. Okay, I'll do the same thing.
While I'm
Okay.
shielding
Now-
Reed and Butt Trumpet, do Gaius or Eldred, do you want to go out there and give her a hand?
Okay, we'll get to you in a second there, Nikita.
Oh, believe me, I want it.
Roll the
Vivalda, you get double damage, so roll your damage and we'll
Wonderful.
double it. Okay, so
7,
so
5,
10 plus what bonuses?
plus 2.
Plus 2?
So 12.
Okay. Okay. You're able to slash the guy across the face. You see a gout of blood and he rolls off the carriage. All of you inside, you start to slow down the carriage. You've noticed that the carriage has started to slow down, and then all of a sudden the rear end of it on the right-hand side takes this bump really bad, and you're
Weird cobblestone.
That wasn't Viv,
Bad
I hope.
habitual.
okay. So, Nikita, you do. What were you saying again?
Sorry, I was just saying while I've got my shield over Reed and the Butt Trumpet, having heard Vivalda call for help, I look over at the two humans, Gaius and Eldred, and you guys want to go out there and help her out? Help an elf out?
I mean, yeah, totally.
Are you okay, guys?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I think I'm a little tired. I just, I didn't get a good night's sleep the other night because I was like having an existential crisis or something.
Eldred says,
yeah.
Let's talk about sleep routines later. Should we? I don't know that I can climb out of a moving carriage, but if no one else is going to, I will.
Oh, I'm definitely going to climb out of a moving carriage.
Okay.
I'm
actually
pretty sure
probably
you have
pretty
a
good
better
at that.
chance of it, Eldred, than I do.
At the very
think
least, I could
Nikki-
stick my head out and just murder them with magic.
Da.
Please.
All right,
Just
so
hold it from
Gaius kind of
outside.
just opens the door, puts his hand up on like the railing on the thing, and just kind of like leans out. So what do I see?
Okay. We'll get to that next round, okay? Vivalda.
Hands
Yeah.
up.
Okay. Okay, the one with who initially attacked you rolled a 3.
Nope.
The one that had the driver in a garrote is off and has been run over by the carriage.
Good,
Wonderful.
good.
The last one is in the rigging of the horses out front and trying to stop them, bring them to a complete stop, but not having luck with that as of yet. So it's just you and the one, and he rolled a 3, so it is now your turn.
Okay. So there's one still near me. Right?
Correct. The first one that attacked you.
Okay. Then I will, right after I had killed the other guy, I kind of put a hand on the driver and be like, I've got you, keep going. And then I'm going to go and attack the other one.
The response is somewhere along the lines of a choking, a spitting up of blood, and a okay.
And I'm going
she's
to
earned a
attack the
tip.
one that's been attacking me.
Okay.
Very, very much so. Okay. Attacking.
Very
23
good.
to hit. And damage. 7 slashing.
Okay. You get him like in the chest, and he kind of takes a step back, and like blood is pouring down his chest, but he's still standing. But you notice his face is ashen, and he's just kind of trying to steady himself at this point. Now, Gaius,
Yes.
what are you doing, and how are you doing it?
Okay, so I got the one arm holding on it, and I'm kind of just leaning out. Do I
Of the
see
door?
the person? Yeah. Do I
Okay.
see the person in the rigging between the horses?
Not from where you are, because there's a door kind of, you'd be looking through the window of the door. You might give me a perception check, please, with disadvantage and the -3.
Oh,
Get a nat 20.
no, that's not. Okay,
Okay.
so a 13 is the lower of the two. instead
Okay,
of
that's
dirty
with the
20.
-3.
Yeah, it's with the -3.
Okay. You see a head bobbing up between the horses then.
Okay, so if I see him, then Gaius is gonna just finger gun, point it right at him, and then he's going
And
to
go pew pew.
wait for it
Lasers.
with a 24 pew pews guiding bolts at that guy. A purplish light just goes around his finger gun, and as he drops the thumb, it just fires off at the guy in
Amazing.
between.
Give me your
Four.
damage.
Pain.
Give me your damage, sir.
14 radiant damage.
Okay. You
Pew.
you see the head fly back, and then you see it go sink down. Those of you in the carriage, and you Gaius as well, the front of the carriage all of a sudden goes poof, and then the rear poof, and the carriage wobbles for a moment.
Oh shit!
Vivalda, you notice the driver kind of leaning precariously off, trying to hold on.
I can, I would try to study her.
Okay. Give me a dexterity check, please. Yeah, give me a dexterity saving throw for this, actually.
Dexterity saving throw. Very well. Please roll well.
Okay.
11.
It was over a 10. That's what you needed, so she's good. You got her on. You got her back on there. Gaius, the other thing you noticed when you first kind of swung outside of the carriage,
Yeah.
you noticed a kind of a crowd catching up to you. They're about 20 feet behind you at this point, closing in.
Oh dear. Guys, throw stuff at them.
Eldred kind of
Eldred.
looks at you funny and like sticks his head out the other window and goes,
He throws his thumb behind him, like, yeah, fire, or I don't know, wall of fire. Do you have that yet?
he goes, you worry about your stuff. And then he does that, and you see a bunch of bolts kind of whiz through there and nail the one in the front, the halfling in the front who seems to fall down with as they hit him. But the others keep coming. And you do notice that one you didn't notice right off the bat is getting pretty close at what looks like a human, but a very slim human.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll go to the next round. Okay, the Vivalda, the halfling on the roof is about to swing at you, but as you hit those bumps, he puts his sword down, just grabs the edge of the carriage, and holds on tight. So you can make an attempt, but because of the bump, I'm going to say that's going to be a disadvantage.
Okay. Is it possible I can kick him off? Like,
Sure.
To destable
I'll tell you what.
more?
You can, instead of making an attack, I'm going to have you do a dexterity check. How about that on this?
Sure
a skill
thing.
check.
Okie dokie. Dexterity. Ability check. Normal. How's it 22? How's it 22 do?
So
I think we're going
basically,
to find another cobblestone that we're going to run over in a second.
you grab the back of the seat of the carriage, you swing your leg up and around, you nail him right in the backside as he's holding on to the one side. He goes flying off, and just as he goes flying off, a lamppost goes by, and boom! You see him just hit that, and you just hear a clang, and then you don't see him anymore.
Nikita,
Very
I can't believe
hushed.
I'm missing this.
And next to you, you hear "awesome," and then you hear "yeah," and the carriage gets kicked into gear and starts really picking up speed. Yeah. And Gaius, as you're back there, you see 3 more bolts shoot from and go back behind you and nail another one of this crowd. But gradually, you are beginning to put a lot of space between you.
Yeah, and if it's applicable, make wisdom checks. Whoever's in the front, guys, is you just hear bells in the background.
Okay. None of the ones that are still up took any damage.
Well, that's fine. They just don't take as much damage as they could have.
Okay, a 1, an 8, a 6. Jesus, a 4. God damn it.
I'm just
A
going to wait.
19.
That one saved.
A 2. I need a new die. Another
No, I want
19.
this one. All right, 2.
And a 14.
Okay, so 2 of them saved.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm just going to roll a d8 of damage for each one of these people.
I'll tell you what, because you're making such distance, why don't you roll it once and I will put it across the...
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay?
And none of them were damaged, right?
None of them were damaged.
Well, poop. They all got 1 because I rolled terrible there.
One in the back, by the way, you noticed was rather massive. You couldn't make out any details, but they were like literally double the size of the other one, of the taller ones, that the humanoid type ones there, not the halflings. You make it kind of around a bend, and you make a lot of distance, and as you are like about 3 blocks away from where you turned, Gaius and Vivalda, give me perception checks, please.
Are there any other windows that Reed could look out of and shoot things?
Okay.
I think
Yes,
Eldred was in the
there's
other
just the one. There's the door that Gaius is hanging out of, and there. By the way, guys, when you went around the corner,
Oh yeah.
give me a dexterity check, please.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Roll me a 20, please.
Uh-oh. All right. I'll just roll one of my things that have a 0 modifier. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for me. Is that
All
bad
of a
at
sudden, those of you in the carriage, as you go around the corner, you see the door swing open and Gaius disappears.
Oh, no.
Give me one more dexterity saving throw there, Gaius, please.
Oh no.
All right. Now this is where I get the net 20. No. But I got a 12, so that's not terrible.
It turns, and you, at the last minute, as you fall, you're able to pull your arm as the wagon wheels go right by and just miss you. But it continues going.
Oh, that was terrifying. Uh-oh.
You're on the cobblestones, and this is continuing to roll down the street.
Yeah, no, I kick myself off the ground and just start hustling.
Okay, I'm going to give you one chance with a dexterity check to grab the back of the carriage. Just on the chance, slim chance, but slim to none. But we'll see.
Not great.
No, you miss it. Butt Trumpet, Nikita, and Reed, give me a perception check, please. We have all three of you do it, because I think this would be pretty obvious.
No.
Reed is oblivious.
Ooh.
Okay. Butt Trumpet, you notice,
Yes?
you're the first one to notice that Papa is gone. He is no longer hanging on to the door. Shortly thereafter, Nikita, you notice too. And you are continuing to book down this street.
What are you guys looking at?
Gaius fell out the door. Eldred, is there anything you can do?
Vivalda, you hear Eldred from outside the window go, "Stop the carriage! Gaius fell out!"
Stop real quick.
I'll
and
repeat it as well.
pulls back. And you see about
My longbow ready.
a block down the street, Gaius, you see the carriage come to a stop. You also see a bunch of people starting to come towards the corner of the cross streets.
Son of a bitch. Like,
All right,
what's
Reed.
the difference? From the cross street where they're at, in front of me or behind me?
Behind you.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, they're catching up to where you are
I
at the
gotcha.
moment.
Yeah, no, I'm running.
Okay.
I'm running.
Okay.
Real
Damn.
fast.
We're going to say you're dashing.
Yes.
I think he's kind of dashing.
Oh, well, thank you. I always say that.
Should I hop out with my bow too?
Yeah,
No.
I was gonna like push
I'll
out the
hold-
partition and see if I could see anything.
There is a
there's
partition
a
in the
way I
back,
can
Butt
hold
Trumpet,
on
so
to
you
them.
can see that. Gaius, does an 18 and a 17, do either of those hit? Because I know the other ones don't.
No, none of those hit.
Okay.
Wow. That's some good AC.
Give me one more dexterity check to see how you do with running in your armor.
Oh, thank God! As I feel the arrows bip off the back, I'm just like, I found new speed.
There you go.
You're not tired anymore.
I'm not tired anymore.
He's tired.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
Butt Trumpet, since you're looking out the back window, you see Papa Guy is kind of stand himself up, look down the street where you've come from. His eyes go wide, and all of a sudden he starts running, clang, 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 clang. And he
Arnold
finally catches up,
Running Man.
dives into the bottom of the carriage. You hear Eldred go, 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 go! And it takes off, the doors bouncing up and down. Butt Trumpet.
Yes.
All of a sudden, about 3 bolts hit the back of the carriage.
No.
And an 18 comes through, and since you're there, I'm assuming an 18 would hit?
Yeah. An 18 really hits.
Okay.
Is this where I can use my reaction to make that with a disadvantage?
Is that one of your abilities, or?
Mm-hmm. She's
Fighting
protection,
style
right?
protection. Yep.
Okay.
Attacks a target other than you within 5 feet. Use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll.
Very good.
Must be
Nice.
Okay. The one that comes through, what happens is about 3 of the bolts hit the back of the carriage. If anybody looking out the window, like Eldred would see, a couple whiz past. You see this, you stick your shield from the roof down in front of, just kind of brushing Butt Trumpet's nose, and one sticks into the shield, and you're whatever that bolt sound is that I'm doing lousy at. Anyway,
Dang.
it's almost like you're there.
Oh God, I
Way to
feel
go,
being
Nikita.
shot at.
And just as quickly, you're all thrown towards the back as the carriage takes off again.
Nikita, thank you.
You are most welcome. I'm very happy to see you. Now stay the fuck down.
That was so awesome, Nikita.
You too, Reed. Don't get smart with me.
No, I mean, really, not.
It's good to have the family back together, Eldred says. It's just like a holiday meal.
Exactly. I'm more
not
than a
enough
little
drinking.
twitchy.
So,
Okay. Yes?
Are we still getting chased?
Nikita, do you put your shield down?
Nope.
Okay. You don't know, Butt Trumpet.
Is Eldred still
Don't know,
looking out the
don't
window?
care. We're all here. Let's go.
When the
Guys, isn't in here yet, is he? Or is he?
he
He
is
got thrown back in the back, right?
he's in the back. His ankles are
Okay.
hanging out the door,
Kicking his little feet.
kicking his little feet.
No, that little.
Kicking
not
his
real
big
small about
feet.
it.
Go, go, go. I'm telling the carriage driver to pick it up now.
Guys, give me another Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, good God.
Oh, no.
I've already used my nat 20 for the night. 14.
Okay, so you continue on bouncing along the cobblestones.
Over the river and through
Vivolda,
the
you.
woods.
What was that?
Over the river and through the woods.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
To Butterbeer's house we go.
Does Eldred see if they're still chasing us, or does he back in as well?
Eldred, when the flurry of bolts went by, stuck his head back in and waited a few seconds and then stuck his head out. And tells you that, they took a shot. Some of them started to run. Some of them stayed standing. The ones that started to run kind of looked behind them that they were alone and then just kind of slowed to a stop. And they all were standing in the middle of the street just kind of watching you take off. And then you turned around another corner, and you do notice that the carriage actually went up on 2 wheels for a brief moment around this corner.
I love delight. What? Delia? Delia.
Once I know that they're like out of range of my longbow, I will go back into the seat with the driver.
Okay.
So
She
who's driving
says-
this thing?
She
It's
says,
Delia.
thanks. And she's grabbing her throat and everything and says, and you see like some blood coming out her mouth.
Of course.
So,
we'll get
Paul,
you
how far
healed up.
are we from like where are we at now? I would say, are we close by the stone's throw or no?
You
near it yet?
still probably have about an hour to get there because
Okay.
there was a lot of starting and stopping.
All right. So while this is going on, Gaius is going to cast Prayer of Healing because
Okay.
it's a 10-minute casting.
Oh, you got plenty of
And
time.
everybody, including the driver, gets healed for 23 hit points because he includes
Ooh.
them in the spell.
Okay.
23 hit points.
And he looks at everyone. He's like, "That was the last spell. Don't get hurt, or you will die."
No pressure.
So we
Elder
actually
goes, great
should go,
great motivational speech from our leader.
Yeah, I know,
we
right?
our hit points go up to 5 over the normal max, right?
Yes, everybody
Well-
but Butt Trumpet.
Okay.
It's still within the 8-hour window, so your maximum hit points have been increased by 5 for an 8-hour window, which is still what we're in.
Got it.
By the way, guys, you feel like death warmed over even with the healing.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
no, that's all right. Yeah, hey, you know what? Guys wasn't hurt that entire combat. round.
Oh,
Not a,
Same.
not a single point of death.
You just happen to not be in the place where the damage is being taken.
There's also that, yeah. There's also that, and usually if there's anyone doing damage, I usually have them in a chokehold or they're dead by the time it's their turn.
Or you're drinking with them.
Or I'm drinking. What Anywho, yeah. So no, guys has
Reed just
blown
looks at Gaius.
all of his magic.
Reed just looks at Gaius. You should drink some wine.
You know what? That is a superb idea. And then he just takes like a sip and he's like, "Oh, all right. I need to hold off because I have a feeling that'll affect me more than it should."
Eldred sits back. You notice the carriage, while still at a brisk pace, has slowed down to a standard kind of a little faster than standard rate of speed.
All right.
Now, Eldred looks over at you, Butt Trumpet, and says, "Are you okay, Butt Trumpet? Are you safe and are you okay?"
I mean, frankly, thanks to Nikita, I'm way better than I could be. But, you know,
Thanks
little
to
traumatized,
everybody.
little excited. Yes, thanks to all of you. I can't thank you enough. I didn't think I'd ever see you again. I never thought I'd
yeah.
see you,
yeah.
but I'm happy with that. I'm happy I see you.
It's wonderful to meet you, really. I've heard many great things about you.
Oh, they lied.
Yes,
did.
we're
Told you.
terrible liars about Butt Trumpet. We told
Told
them
you
we
they
were
were humble.
rescuing our greatest hero.
All right, now somebody's lying.
No,
Butt
but
Trumpet
poorly.
blushes and
Exactly.
Butt Trumpet's awesome because she made the buddies.
Oh yes, they did make a
Bunnies.
unreasonable amount of bunnies.
That's what I heard.
is there a reasonable amount of bunnies?
Yes, like 2.
Because I can
think.
try for that.
Nope.
Less than a squillion.
Almost certain they're carnivores now.
It's because they weren't given a loving home.
So they're eating their
Initially.
way into them.
Well, I can say, for one, that I am very glad that we found you, and that all of that is over, for now at least, I think.
Eldred says,
Yeah.
here's a second to that.
I
Because
certainly hope
apparently, did you hear them say anything but Trumpet? Apparently, there's a bounty on you.
What? That.
Da.
Oh my gosh. Well, that makes so much
It's from
sense.
that Mamoulian guy.
We think.
The-
Pretty
We think,
sure.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, the people who got me, whoever they were, they're just. I think they're only a small part of it because I think they were looking for more goblets like me. I don't think they knew who I was.
Really?
Interesting.
Oh.
Goblets like you and like because you're bluish, or
I think so because I don't think they realize that I'm not supposed to be. I don't think they realize that goblets aren't supposed to be blue.
Yes, I've never met
They
one before,
didn't
so
turn
this
her in
is
just
all
in
new.
case. I'm in.
I
They
don't.
wanted
Yeah.
more blue.
And I know for a fact that, well, not for a fact, but from what I could gather, where I was just felt like one of many different safe houses, I think.
Well,
Not
Uh-oh.
anymore.
yeah, that one's kind of messed up. I mean, it was redecorated. I mean, they could probably fix it up a bit, but I would.
It's still workable, yes.
It's. I mean, the walls are intact. Did we leave anything on fire in there?
I don't think
I'm
so.
almost. Oh, that's right. I did put out the guys so we didn't walk into a fire later on. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Practice.
I feel like though
safe adventuring.
after what happened in the kitchen, they wouldn't want to stay there.
What happened in the kitchen?
Nothing happened in the kitchen.
I feel like something happened in the kitchen.
Oh, potatoes
More
were peeled
death?
in the kitchen. No, potatoes were peeled in the kitchen.
That's
And by
code,
potatoes,
isn't it?
he means halflings.
Okay.
I was trying. Can we not scar the little person?
I am so scarred.
Viv is still not okay. I'm almost certain.
I'm not okay. I do need to
See?
meditate.
She's
when
not
I get
okay.
somewhere safe.
Oh, I've never
Don't-
been okay.
Don't worry, we can have a breakdown over a bottle later.
Ooh, a perfect idea.
I'm not.
You gotta
You can
gotta
sleep with
self-regulate,
them.
butt trumpet. You don't know your limits yet. That's coming from
Just
me.
just a thought. If this gang was at all well informed, they probably know that we stay at the stone's throw.
Honestly, I wouldn't be so sure. The way they were talking, it sounded like everyone was sort of trying to get to know each other. I don't think anybody was coordinated on this, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they did kind of let other Bob just kind of wander around.
While we're
That's me.
having
I
this
was other Bob.
conversation, I will be like
Yes.
looking around at rooftops and alleys and everything just to make sure we're not being tailed or followed by anybody.
Okay.
Also, we should definitely peace bond and try to clean the worst of the blood off our person while we're on this
like covered
carriage
in
ride.
Vivalda, you probably have the most blood all over you.
I'm very bloody.
Yeah. But what you see is every now and then you'll see something up on a roof that might be a person. But you don't get the feeling that it's someone looking at you. You just get the feeling that it might be somebody or something up on the roof. It's not like
Some
Following.
bunny.
or
Silhouettes
some
of
bunny.
giant
Yeah, you
rabbits.
might see some bunny. Just you see two little ears. And then they're gone.
That's the
Yep.
black beast of Arg.
Foreshadowing for the final boss.
Exactly.
Big bunny.
Are we going to the cave of Carabanog?
Oh my god.
Oh, you joke!
I do.
Horses do. Nibble your bum.
For those not clued in, this is Monty Python reference.
I'll be very surprised if there is anybody who's not clued into that. But you know.
Listen, you'd be surprised nowadays what some people are blind about. Just classic cinema they don't watch. I've met people who
Kids
haven't
these
watched
days.
Spaceballs. Right?
Heathens.
We
Anyway,
need to get the carriage to ludicrous speed.
It's surprising the number of people who are not
They've gone
familiar with the
straight to
D&D
plaid.
references in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. I got it. Okay, so the carriage has started to fall into a standard kind of speed. It's slowed down quite a bit. And eventually you make it to the library district, and you make it like within a block or so of the stone's throw, and you hear from up top going, do you want to give me directions of where you're going?
oh yeah. And then Gaius will give her
Okay.
the turns to make.
Okay.
Do you want me to come up there?
No, I think I just give me some directions. Should be fine.
All right.
And you make it to in front of the stone's throw, and they hop. Delia hops down and opens up the door, and she looks a little pale, but she looked like the blood that was there seems to have dried up. She's not bleeding anymore. You do notice like a
She was
purplish.
included in the healing.
Yes, but there's still
Okay.
blood that dripped doesn't all of a sudden disappear.
Yeah.
And there is a purplish scar around the throat. So at this point,
I put my hand
Would
on
you
it.
like a drink?
I would like many drinks, actually.
Would you like to
join
come
us
in for a
tonight?
drink?
Sure, actually. And goes and ties up the horses, and as they're doing this, someone give me a perception check. Anyone.
I can. Perception. Oh, just kidding. Pretend I didn't. Okay. Eight.
Does anybody
That's
help?
cool.
Does anybody
Yeah,
help?
I help.
Okay, Vivaldi, roll
Yeah,
another
guys.
one.
Advantage.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Pat you on the back. You've done real good today.
There we
That's
go.
my
And you get
lucky
blood on your
23.
hand.
Not like, yeah, and I come back stands like, oh, I mean, not literal good, like
I'm
done
sorry.
well.
Yeah.
You got
Vivaldi,
red on you.
It's about this time that you notice the sun beginning to rise.
We've been awake for far too long, too.
I can't wait to drink a
That's-
whole lot and then fall asleep. Oh, breakfast. Best part of
More
waking
bacon.
up. Or before you go to bed is bacon, apparently. And also, Delia will get you something with some honey, chamomile tea, maybe a little bit of peppermint mix in there for the throat, and a copious amount of whiskey. All that should clear it up.
That sounds like a good start, she says.
Oh, I feel
Before
a
we go
convert.
in, though, I feel like we should settle up first. And
oh
looks
yeah,
at you.
no, totally. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So there was. It would be 12 for the
Yep.
ride. Then there's
Yep.
hazard pay, and I believe there's usually a tip on top of that.
20 gold. Sound good?
That sounds like it would handle it. Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank
and
you.
you drinking for free today or this morning?
The day just keeps getting better. Although with the past hour or so, that's not too hard to do.
Yeah. Right. It's only up from here.
Yeah.
As Reed hops out of the carriage, he like turns to everybody. He's like, "That was awesome! You totally saved Butt Trumpet."
Reed, just sticky with blood.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I wouldn't. That shirt was white earlier. It's like
Does-
Reed,
reddish.
Yeah.
Butt Trumpet put up a hand and said, high five.
Oh, high five, high five.
Does this tavern have a bathhouse?
Oh yes,
I
we've used it more frequently than we should.
We're usually really
Eldred says, if by bathhouse you mean a tub, yes.
We take turns. There's 2 tubs.
Yes, there are 2 tubs.
All right.
Well, you guys can go first
I
because
think-
most of the blood was on my hands, and I washed that off.
Yes.
I feel like
think
I'm
I
also
will
not
take
very
advantage of
clean.
that.
Yeah, Butt
And on
Trumpet,
my
you're not
imagine.
very clean at all, so at the moment.
And
Oh,
you
yeah,
were
you've
riding
been-
on Vivaldi's back.
Yeah, Butt Trumpet's been in a stack for how many days now?
I think
I
2
don't
or
want
3.
to talk about it.
Okay, so you go in. Butterbeer is behind the bar, kind of sitting on something, kind of just staring out. And you see Betty kind of going around getting everything situated that Butterbeer usually does.
Ugh.
And you can hear movement in the kitchen and the clanging of some stuff here and there. And Betty says, "Oh, you're back! Oh, and our little blue friend. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here."
Can I run
Yeah.
in for a hug?
Sure, because she's in the middle of the floor.
I toddle on over on my 2 little feet and just kind
She
of fall into her arms.
Picks you up and spins you around and says, "So good to see you again, safe and sound." Spinning. Ah, wonderful. What? Oh, it's so good to see you. What can we do for all of you? Breakfast?
Can I have a bath?
Food,
Baths.
drinks. We're gonna probably do all of it in like a rotation of some sort or another.
You got it. And
Split off in pairs of 2.
okay, you and our little blue friend to start. It seems like the 2 most in need of a bath. That sounds good.
Sounds
I
good.
left my ducky in my room.
Okay. Do you go to your room?
Yeah, you know, climbing up the stairs.
Vivaldi, you notice that Butt Trumpet goes over to the stairs, kind of pulls up, lifts up a foot, and goes, "Ugh." Okay.
I didn't have.
What?
Actually, I think if you're going to your room, I think they gave me your room, so here I can take you.
No.
No,
No.
You got
it's
a
all
different room.
right. Let me grab Butt Trumpet. I will take them to the room, and I'm just going to quietly collapse on the bed.
Okay.
Amateurs.
All right,
Eldred
I'll
looks at you,
retrieve-
Vivalda, and says, Butt Trumpet and Nikita share a room.
Oh right, I don't know whose room I had.
Just
Oh.
someone who was with us for about a week.
All right.
I get my ducky and I'd like to attempt to go down the banister like I did before.
Okay. Give me a dexterity check, please.
As Guy sees
Okay.
us, he walks over toward the banister.
Okay. Gaius,
This is gonna go great.
give me a dexterity check to see. You see Butt Trumpet climb up onto the banister
Yep.
and slide and picks up speed like super fast, hits the end, goes up into the air, does a spin. You're going, oh
Yep.
crap. And you actually have to
And with-
readjust and go back and eventually just kind of catch them.
Ugh. I'm really tired. Please stop all of this. For the love of Bacchus. It's okay. No, you're having fun. We're all having fun. I just don't have any spells if you crack your head open right now, so.
I toddle away a little embarrassed holding my ducky.
Betty tells Vivolda and Butt Trumpet that they can come into the pantry and that the water should be ready shortly. There was a lot of water on for today's cooking, but they'll just put it towards the tubs to start and then start again. So that's no problem. You go in and it's there's the kitchen and then there's a side pantry with a door and they have the 2 tubs in there. There's shelves with all sorts of foodstuffs and they're filling them with large pots of water and said there's soap there on the shelf. You see a block of soap. Also, if you'd like something to drink while you're bathing, that's fine as well.
I might take you up on that. Yes.
I look around and like make sure Geist isn't in front to hear or within earshot. I would love some wine, actually.
Coming right up.
As would I. Yes.
2 large tankards of wine, I think, would probably be.
Oh yes, don't
Sure.
worry. This is what I usually do.
Okay. Sure thing.
Okay, Betty brings each of you a large tankard of wine, and you're in your nice warm baths. There's a big block of soap, and you can do whatever you do, when you bathe.
Well, we don't have podcasts in this time, so I guess we can't put one of those on.
You have pubcasts.
I'll turn on the pubcast.
There you go.
Well, you're listening to WKJR here at the Dandy Dagger for your podcast of the week. Here talking about what your favorite drinks are. We got oh God, why is this one called a toenail? Does it have that stuff floating in it? Ugh, gross. Sorry, I blacked out. What happened?
There are many pubcasts. I'm sure that would have been one of them.
Oh, yeah. Anywho.
So the rest of you, minus Nikita, who went upstairs and then never came down again.
I'm sure she's fine.
Betty comes down and says, looks at you, Reed, and says, ale. Looks at you guys and Eldred and say, 2 whiskeys and an ale.
Yep.
And says, that's it for right now, right?
Yes, food for the group, I guess.
You got it. Baron's breakfast all around?
Yep.
You got it. And goes and starts pouring the drinks. And before popping her head into the kitchen and saying, 5 Baron breakfasts, you hear her say, and then goes behind the bar and starts pulling drinks and eventually brings them all over to you.
Mm. So is Butterbeer just not reacting to the fact that we're here right now?
He's just kind of sitting over there, kind of just staring, and he's watched you go over and everything, and just kind of quiet.
Not like brain dead quiet, right?
No, just doesn't seem really himself.
I'm too tired to deal with this right now. Let me get
Guys, do you think
solidated.
I could go tough, though.
Well, you're covered in blood. You're covered in blood, bud.
So? What does that mean?
I would say wait for your bath. Not look like you just murdered like a baker's dozen of halflings single-handedly.
Oh, okay.
Jelly filled, Eldred says.
I don't think it was jelly, Eldred.
Oh.
I wouldn't taste test it to find out, so.
Then that probably wasn't powdered sugar either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you find... Oh. My mind went way weirder places.
So.
I don't know.
Eventually, the food comes out. It's a nice assortment of meats, extra large pile of bacon. Um,
Oh yes.
you know, some baked beans, some roasted tomatoes and mushrooms, and some fried bread. Um, you start digging into that, and an old woman comes into the pantry, Vivalda, and says, "You let me know when you're ready, and I'll bring some towels."
Wonderful. I think if I'm fully scrubbed off and I look clean, then I think I would. Yeah, I'll go ahead and grab one. Thank you.
You got it.
I'm gonna say this whole time Vivalda and I have been like catching each other up on how we know
Yeah.
everybody.
Okay. How
I
does that
just-
go? I'd be very curious.
So, how did you meet Gaius and Nikita and Reed?
Well, there was an explosion at the tower where I live with my old master, who we
Oh,
have
yes.
not
Mhm.
found, who we do not know whether he is alive. They scooped me up after the building crumbled and I believe rebuilt itself. Since then, I've been accompanying them on their various missions. I did create a wild assortment of multicolored rabbits. I have
So I've
gotten
heard.
drunk. I have, just caused my own little assortment of chaos. How about you?
I met them, I think, was it 2 days or 1 day? It hasn't been very long, but it feels like a month already, actually.
I know
Sounds
the
about right.
feeling.
Yes, it's, yeah, well, I was looking for work because I just got into town and, I'm used to having a little more coin than this, so I needed to grab some more, and so I looked for a job, and they told me I can either go kill things in the sewers or I can join this group, so I was like, I'll join this group, and turns out they were going to go into the sewers anyway,
Did
but
you get your sewer clothes?
not yet. Gaius said that that's something I need to get soon, so I'm thinking
There'll be a
I
whole
could.
montage.
I was thinking, yes, but yeah. So buying clothes, possibly health potions. If I don't think I can afford those, but yes,
I can't
that's
afford
how I met
anything
them.
either. I don't
Well,
have any pockets.
if you want, I could offer a pocket. I've got some room in my pockets. If you want to, I can. Oh, if you
Are
don't
you
want me to,
offering me a place in your pocket?
yes, I think you could. You could keep your things in there if you wanted to, and I'll just designate that as Butt Trumpet's pocket. Do you want a pouch? Actually, I took a bunch of pouches off of the dead body.
I'm imagining a new tavern down by the docks called Butt Trumpet's Pocket.
No,
That will be where I
No.
settle down. That'll be my retirement plan.
God.
But yes, I have actually 2 pouches from some of the halflings that we encountered.
Are
If you
they
want some
covered in
pouches,
blood?
I'll go ahead and look through my stuff really quickly over the side of the tub. I mean, I can wash them for you.
The one only has a
I
little
haven't-
bit of blood on it.
It's not too much because I was keeping them, like
And the one's
But
so
I have-
soaked through that it looks like it's a uniform color, so you can't really tell.
I've
you
seen
probably
so
wouldn't
much,
want
I
this
can't
one.
even be bothered by it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you still probably don't want that one, but I can clean this one, and then hopefully you won't be even able to tell that there was blood on it at one point, and then that one can be yours. And then I have an extra one in case anybody else wants that one. If you want both, you can have both, but one's gonna be more stained.
You seem real nice.
I try to be, thank you. But yeah, wonderful to meet you.
I'm glad we
I
had
think,
this talk.
yes, no, this was wonderful. I'm, I guess we're going to be going in sewers at some point soon, too, so well, I
Yeah,
guess we'll be
I
working
might,
again. Or,
yeah, I'll probably hit you up for another piggyback ride, because,
sure.
me walking in the sewers,
Yeah,
I have to
you're
prevent
like,
myself from being soup right now, so.
how, how tall are you, actually?
I'm,
Do you
what,
know?
2
2
feet
feet?
tall?
Yeah.
Okay, so like a little bit taller than my boot. Okay, cool. Wonderful. Yeah,
Knee
I
high.
can. Yeah, you can totally ride on my back for that, and that'll keep you dry. I think. Hopefully, I don't know how deep sewers are. I've never been in one.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. Well then, with that, I think we can get our towels.
I think so too. Where are the towels?
You turn around and the old woman's in the door with her mouth open and her eyes wide, just kind of going.
I just like
And-
scoop the bubbles to like cover me. Excuse me.
I just.
Hands each of you a towel and says, "Excuse me," and turns around and leaves, shutting
What's
the door
with her?
behind her.
I don't know. I don't.
That was weird, right?
Because she came in earlier and saw us, so I don't know why she was weird about it now.
Whatever, it's probably nothing.
It's
Probably nothing we did.
I don't know. I don't understand how people seem to work in the city. They seem really odd. They'll like make faces at you for no reason, and it's. Anyway, let's go ahead and get breakfast.
Okay. The two of you get wrapped up. You can head up to your rooms in the towels to be able to put on clean clothes. And as you do, the old woman sticks her head out of the kitchen, looks towards the table, and says, "Next." Eldred,
Oh, definitely read. and Eldred, you look a little splattered as well.
Yeah, it's the look I was going for, but yeah, we can do that.
Look a little pincushiony.
Finishes the 2 shots that had just replaced the other ones, grabs the mug of ale, turns to Betty and says, "I don't know what happened. Those 2 whiskeys evaporated, so I might, you know what? Just put them in a mug like this while I'm in the tub. That might help." And then he starts walking towards the back.
He had a rough night.
Reed grabs the mug in one hand and a handful of bacon and just shoves it all in his mouth. Right behind you.
That man's gonna die of high cholesterol.
And guys, you find yourself sitting there in the tavern by yourself with like
Delia's not with me?
Oh yeah, I nearly forgot. Delia, just you and Delia, and like 7 trays of food all around.
No. Guys is just like laid out a couple shot glasses in front of Delia. It's like, yeah, listen, you take whatever you need, and also please don't use that carriage after. Can you actually be intoxicated while working? Because that'd be, I mean, awesome in my case. Because I do that all the time. I mean, I was drunk all night.
She says, "You drive carriages around?"
No, I do a lot of. I'm a healer. You know, I'm more like a combat medic. It feels like nowadays.
The sun has come up, so and it's way after my shift. So
Yes.
I think what I'm going to do is, when I'm done here, or when I'm just done,
Yeah.
and she swigs back another drink. Says it's making that feel a little better.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the peppermint.
Peppermint?
Yes, peppermint.
I thought this was whiskey.
Oh, put the peppermint in the whiskey. That's why it's a little sweeter than normal.
Oh, I don't think I had that one.
Oh wait, and he takes one. Ah, shit. damn it. Then he's like sliding glasses around. He's like, okay, I think I did this right. Or not, whatever. The peppermint helps. If you're looking to get non-intoxicated sore throat help, honey.
I don't care about the intoxicated because I'll walk the horses back. And
that's right. You can walk horses.
She just kind of tilts her head and looks at you and says, "You were drinking all night, weren't you?"
Oh, it's kind of just a constant
blur.
Thing.
Oh.
Well, I mean, no, it's more of I'm afraid to stop drinking, really. The collective hangover will probably murder me.
And this isn't a problem.
No. I mean, I'm a follower of Bacchus, so it's kind of like my thing. Because if I don't, I think that's sacrilegious.
I'm not a religious person, so I'll take your word for it.
I'm only partially religious.
Tilts the head and looks at you again, and
I follow the rules of the guy I like the best. And also, I have been granted powers from them as well, I guess. I don't know.
At what point do Viv and Butt Trumpet come into this conversation?
We'll say that the two of you come down, and the last thing you hear before you get to the table is, "I just go with the one I like the best."
Hey! Butt Trumpet, Viv, and does Gaius see them holding giant mugs of wine still?
No, because Betty brings that over to the table after they get seated.
Oh, no. Now, Butt Trumpet.
Gaius, could I have a drink?
Yes, because part of my religion says that, but also you need to consume liquid in the amount that is your body weight or less. I think if we start there, that's a good stopping point for you personally.
Let's start there.
As you say that, Butt Trumpet, Betty comes over, puts 2 full tankards in front of each of you, and says, "The other ones were empty, so I just filled them up for you," and turns around and leaves.
What now? No. Oh.
I already start drinking it.
Well, this is Nikita's problem, not mine. I've tried to regulate.
Somewhere Nikita senses a disturbance in the force.
Exactly.
The wings on Nikita's helmet all of a sudden go.
Well, at the very least I can do, receive a blessing from Bacchus as he gestures over the... I forget, this. We have mediocre wine here, right, Paul?
It's beyond mediocre, yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's now average.
Okay. Vivalda, you notice that Gaius does a prayer over the wine. After the day you had, you didn't really care what it tasted like.
Yeah.
But after he does the prayer, you notice that it's substantially better. It's nowhere near like Elven green wine, or some of the other wines that you've had, but it is substantially better than what you drank in the tub.
I call it solid party wine, not tub wine. This is the kind of wine you play wine pong with.
There's a
What is
wine pong?
Oh yeah, it's a thing we do. It's one of the things we do to celebrate a Bacchanalia. What you do is you set up a couple cups in a triangle, and you compete against other people. You fill them up partially with wine, and you throw little balls in it. It's a sacred ritual.
Hold on a
I'll
minute.
explain. Wait.
It sounds
Yes. Oh, it's a blast.
I kind of want to play.
Well, let's wait for everybody to be able to play that one, because we got Nikita's. I'm assuming passed out.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Some people are
everyone's
recovering
tired.
from blood loss and might need to eat an excessive amount of bacon or red meat to increase their blood in their body again.
Gaius says that, and you see Delia nod her head and then starts shoveling some meat onto a plate and starts kind of downing it. And then, drinking him.
That is definitely what you need to do.
At one point, you see her grab the wrong mug and go, "Oh, that's the peppermint," and puts it to the side and grabs the one that she was drinking before.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. It's just sickly sweet. Oh, as Gaius drinks it, he's like, but my throat feels so much better. Ah. See? I talk normal now. Oh, what weird. I usually have such a...
Delia looks at you and says, "Yeah, weird." And then looks at you, Vivalda, and Butt Trumpet, and like he just kind of nods towards Gaius and rolls the eyes.
Hey, I'm a very normal person.
Delia turns to you and says, "What I will need is,
Yeah.
before I leave,
Mm.
maybe some help getting those bolts out of the back of the carriage, because
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's looking a bit like a porcupine by now."
Yeah, they did have an excessive amount of crossbows.
You know what, Gaius? Give me a perception check, please.
Does she currently have a crossbow in her?
No.
Hopefully not.
That is a unnatural 20.
Okay. You
Dirty 20. Oh, yeah! Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
No.
Kool-Aid.
That was the party wine talk.
Kool-Aid.
Gaius, you notice that the entire time that you were there, there were some arrows and some bows in the armory. You didn't see anyone using bows or arrows. And you noticed that the bows and arrows in the armory were like filled. It was the one weapon stock that seemed to be totally filled. And most of them were longbows.
Until we stole a bunch of the arrows.
Exactly.
I saw
But the point is, you didn't see any bows being used.
Interesting. That was a weird observation. Yeah, no bows, right? Viv, you were in the thick of it. They were using crossbows, right?
I believe so, yeah. That's
Yeah,
from
Viv,
what Viv can recall, yeah.
all you saw were, if there was a ranged weapon, it was a crossbow, and that was it.
Yeah.
Interesting. They
I
didn't
saw
use...
a bunch of
wonder
crossbow
if it's
bolts
because-
and
I wonder if it's because we stole all their arrows they didn't use the bows?
well, I didn't steal all of them. I just took enough to fill my quiver.
Oh, amateur. We need to get you better at permanently taking things. They were bad people.
Yeah.
Some of them stopped being bad people after they met us, but the rest of them were very bad people.
I mean, from the looks of her, when I met her, she's pretty good at taking life.
Oh, well, we just don't want to bring that. Hey, you know what, Viv? And he just slides a shot over to her. It's like, why don't you just
Yeah.
enjoy that?
I think it is a compliment.
Yeah, no, well, you know, some people don't do that frequently, and you need time to adjust. The good news is they were all bad people.
That's
They
what I'm
kidnapped.
telling myself, yes.
Yes, they were all bad people. They probably didn't have families or loved ones.
Let's not. I'm going to take another shot if that's all right. I'll take the
There's
peppermint
enough of
one
them
if
on
no
the
one
table
wants.
at this point. You can have as many as you want because they keep getting refilled on the table, so there's quite a number of them.
I take some
But
bacon
anyway.
before Reed gets back.
And also, so you know, they're not in shot glass; they're like in tumblers, and so they're more like double shots. So
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
just
gosh, okay.
more somewhere between 2 to 4 ounces of liquor.
yeah.
All right.
We,
Butt Trumpet,
listen
did
here,
you do some of those as well?
Oh no!
I'll stick with my wine.
Okay. And in the back pantry,
I did
Reed-
wait. I did take a sniff of the peppermint whiskey, though.
Okay, what did you think of that?
I was curious.
Oh no!
I think I took it too. Yeah,
It's-
Well,
I
everyone-
like just now I grabbed it.
It smells like hot peppermint, like really spicy peppermint.
It'll help with the sore
Really
throats
weird
if you've
with
been
life
garroted recently.
So, Vivalda, do you just take it down?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a Constitution saving throw with advantage.
Oh my. Constitution saving throw with advantage. Wonderful.
It's been blessed by Bacchus.
Come on, saving throw advantage.
Oh, that
Nat
Okay.
20.
It
your throat feels great.
it burns a little bit more than you expected on the way down, but it does leave a minty fresh finish. But
Take another one of those.
I wouldn't recommend any kind of citrus after that though. It doesn't mix well.
You know, I bet people should have this every morning to freshen their breath.
Peppermint whiskey? I agree.
So, Reed, back in the
Yes.
pantry, what's the conversation like there?
So Reed's got all the bloody stuff next to the tub, and
Okay.
he's sitting in there with his mug, and as he takes a sip, he looks at Eldred. So, do you have to put on your bad guy robes after this? Because your other ones are all dirty?
Well, it depends which bad guy robes you're talking about. Do I put on the I'm an evil necromancer robe, or do I put on my I'm trying to fool my friends into thinking I'm actually a good guy robes? Or should I put on my my no one will ever suspect me robes? Or the
Ooh,
sewer
what do those ones
robes?
look like? No, not the sewer robes.
Oh, okay.
What do the not suspecting ones look like? Have we seen those?
Oh, you've seen them. You'd know them
I
if you
don't-
saw them.
What if I don't suspect?
Then I must have gone to a really great tailor. Great
Good point.
craftsmanship. Yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
So, I got pajamas or sewer clothes. That's what I got choice of. And I really got to clean my armor, so. And my weapons, and my.
Do you
hat.
ever wear those pajamas underneath your armor?
Ooh, that's a good idea. Maybe I'd be comfy. I gotta take care of my bunny too.
Does he have sewer clothes?
No, bunnies don't wear clothes, silly.
Ah, yeah, that is silly. I'm terribly sorry. What was I thinking? Why would I say anything so ridiculous? That is silly.
Reed takes another sip of his wine, and he's just like asleep.
Okay, it's your ale, by the way. That's how
Oh, I'm
tired
sorry
you
about
are.
ale.
Okay. Okay, so back out at the table. Anything else going on?
Well,
Just eating.
yeah, no, just
Yeah, I
So-
probably haven't eaten well in like 3 days.
You haven't eaten hardly at all in 3 days, actually.
Okay, yeah, I am going to town on this stuff.
Okay. Lots of meats, lots of baked beans and fried bread and roasted mushrooms and roasted tomatoes and all sorts of stuff. There's even some pancakes in there and all sorts of stuff. Something akin to Toad in a Hole, which is kind of like a sausage wrapped soft boiled egg served inside a pastry. So there's just pretty much all these things that you could possibly want. And as you're digging in, you see Eldred come out wrapped in a towel and says, I'll be over. And he goes up the stairs and up to his room.
Huh, wonder where Reed is.
unconscious, probably.
In the bathtub?
Oh my God, Reed! Son of a bitch! I hope he's not drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, Viv, you've had some very traumatic experiences. If you need to talk to
I
someone,
don't
I
want to
am
do this,
trained in Greek counseling and all that, you can come to me later. But I'm going to go make sure Reed's not dead. And
Don't do
Gaius
that,
gets
yeah.
up and walks into the back room.
Okay. You go in the back. You see Reed in the tub. His head is back like this. The water level is just below his lower lip. His legs are up and kind of draped over. He's spread eagled, kind of with his legs hanging outside the tub. And you just hear him going,
Fuck Bacchus, I don't need to see this shit.
Are
At
there
which
any
point he just kind of
bubbles?
like palms
you
Reed's
see,
head.
you see
Just kinda-
just like some little puddles of dark red bubbles here and there mixed in with this murky water.
At which point, Gaius just palms Reed's head and just kind of like lifts him slowly a little bit from the water. And then it like drapes his head over like the back of it, and he waits to see if he starts sliding out again and down and in.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Pokes him. Reed.
Reed, give me a constitution check, please.
Oh no.
Is it wine time?
It's wine o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock.
That'd be a 9.
He doesn't wake up, but there is a burst of bubbles in the tub.
Ugh. Gaius looks around and looks at the mug of ale he's holding and then just kind of like dumps it on Reed's head.
It's mostly gone, but
Yes.
Reed, you do wake up with you obviously have been splashed yourself or something, and you're reminded that ale would taste really good about now.
Reed, you almost killed yourself with a bathtub again.
Really?
Yeah, you
Wait,
fell asleep
again?
and you almost drowned. Yeah,
Oh,
this is not the first time you fell asleep in a bathtub.
He sits
Okay.
up,
I think-
and all of a sudden a rubber ducky pops up to the floor. And
I
starts-
don't know. I don't
Back at
wanna
the table
know.
and palming myself, going, "Did I leave my ducky in the bag?"
Hey,
I
this isn't my
hesitate.
deck.
I hesitate to ask. No, I don't want to know any of these questions. Hey, I think you've been cleaned. You need to go and
Okay.
before all the food's gone or the liquor.
Oh,
Reed hops
Give me
up
that
out of
towel.
the tub and starts heading towards the door.
I
You need a towel, bud.
Oh,
You need a towel,
there's one over a chair next to the tub where you are, Gaius.
bud. Yes. Yeah, he just kind of like feels for it and just kind of like throws it in Reed's general direction. So come
There
on,
you
go. Thank you.
people. Decorum.
So the door to the kitchen opens up. You see Reed come out, kind of partially covered with a towel, but what you see mostly is, whereas everyone else has kind of gone and walked, he's obviously not even dry and still soaking, and as he's walking, you hear the wet slapping of feet as he's going towards the stairs and then up the stairs.
And then Reed turns around and he runs back to the kitchen. My stuff. Oh. Come back out of the pantry with all my
He comes
bloody
back
stuff
with
in
a
my
big pile of clothes and everything, and his towel seems to be mixed in with the clothes as he heads up the stairs.
Oh gosh.
And a little ducky just falls and squeaks onto the floor.
Yep, at the base of the stairs.
There it is.
There it is.
I go over to pick it up. Does it smell funny?
We'll say it's okay.
It's,
Okay.
Thank you.
why would you
Just
do that?
shrug and I put it in my new pocket.
Vivalda, Butt Trumpet comes over and hands you a rubber ducky and says, "Can you put this in my pocket, please?"
Oh, sure. Yeah. I put it in one of the pouches that I have
Okay.
now. I'll label this pouch as Butt Trumpet's pouch later.
Reed will put everything
I
in
can
his room, and he's gonna sit next to the bunny for a second and take a nap with the bunny. He's
Okay.
tired.
Eldred comes down dressed and sits down, starts eating, and says, "Miss Betty, I'm terribly sorry, but this seems to have evaporated again. You might want to work on the air quality here." And she just looks at him, smiles, and takes, "Yes, Mr. Eldred." Takes the mug and comes back with another big mug of whiskey. Eldred says, "So, what now?" As he starts eating.
Like we mentioned sewers.
Yeah, we kind of have a checklist we have to go down. There's the sewers.
I for one would love to be able to rest before we go back out again.
No,
Obviously.
no, we're definitely going to take a rest. Definitely going to take a rest. So, speaking of which, I guess let me know when one of the tubs are washed out or de-reeded.
Oh, Delia, do you need
Redistributed.
help with crossbow?
Yes, whatever puns you feel like inserting there, go ahead.
What does he do in there?
Mostly almost kill himself because he falls asleep in a bathtub.
Eldred says, yes, he seems like a very depressed halfling.
Eldred,
Well, you're trained in
not...
Greek counseling, right?
Yes, I am trained in grief counseling. That's usually after somebody's killed themselves. This is kind of like, I need to do preemptive.
Eldred looks at you, Butt Trumpet, and says, "Did you say Greek counseling?"
No, grief.
I didn't ask you, he says. He turns to Butt Trumpet.
Is that not what he said?
Yeah, that's exactly because that's what he's trained in, Greek counseling. Right, guys?
I'm trained in many counselings.
Yeah, see?
How am I doing alcohol-wise?
You're fucked up.
Well, consider this. You already went through one tankard of wine and laid into another one before you even started eating.
After 3 days of not eating.
I'm going to focus on food the rest of the night.
Okay.
It's a good idea. Delia, do you want me to help you with those crossbow bolts in your carriage?
Swigs down another glass, puts it down, and says, "That would be great."
Sure thing. And I'll just go out and start doing it.
This goes, now. Sure.
I can do it if you need help. Honestly, you've done so much work today. I can do it if you need me to.
That might be best, actually.
Sure thing. You rest. I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
And I'll just go out there and I'll start taking care of it.
Delia turns to you guys and says, "She is a sweetheart. What was her name again?"
Oh, yeah, no, Viv is great.
Viv. Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I need to go wash the blood out of underneath my fingernails.
You may want to get the rest of yourself as well, Delia
Yeah,
says.
I mean, I did step on some people's heads earlier. That did happen. And then I did suck the life force out of one dude.
Huh.
Does Gaia still have the cigar or whatever it is you took? The pipe, cigar,
Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, but it's like the stub. Like it went out. Definitely like when he went for the tumble, it just like went out and it's just like, it's like,
so there's
what the fuck?
He has had this stub of a cigar in the corner of his mouth, except ever since he fell out of the carriage, it kind of looks like a sunburst at the end.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
And like ever since he sat down, he's kind of leant into the candle on the table and relit it a couple times. You see a couple of hairs on his beard kind of catch, but he doesn't even seem to notice, and just that's better.
Yeah. really got to find out where this guy got. Oh wait, he's dead, so I can't find out where he got it. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go wash the halfling off me. Was that armor a halfling? Did anyone notice that? Was he a halfling as well? Was that a person? Was that a human-sized person?
That was a human-sized person.
Okay, I gotta wash human off me as well. That dude,
Human?
I definitely human. Yeah, I crushed his skull against something. A door jam. That's what it was.
Delia's just shaking her head, going, I heard it was you. You're kind of hard to miss when people describe you. And I thought, oh, they'll probably need a ride. They pay well. What the hell was I thinking?
And you know what you did? You saved lives tonight.
Almost didn't save my own, she says, but thanks.
But you know what you did? By saving my life, I saved your life. And you also got a pretty good bonus.
Yes, I did. That was that.
And you got drunk for free.
That I did too.
And food for free.
That, yeah.
And you met Viv. She was awesome, right? She's new.
I wouldn't be here without her.
And I think the blood loss and exhaustion is starting to kick in, and I'm starting to feel a little tipsy. So I think I'm going to go soak in a tub, and I don't fall asleep in it like Reed and die. Well, do all these things first.
Lots of luck with that, Delia says.
I'm going to go soak.
Okay.
Put on the podcast.
Yeah, whatever that is. Bye. And as you see, guys finally stand up, and you just realize it's like, oh, he kind of looks pale.
Yeah. And he kind of stands up and kind of leans to one side and takes a number of steps in before he kind of like puts his hand on the wall. And as he makes his way,
two hands out, like just like dragging along the seat, like the wall, and just touching shit.
kind of touching everything, making a kind of very jagged path towards the kitchen. And after he goes through the kitchen door, Delia turns to anyone who's within earshot and says, he said he crushed heads and sucked the life out of people. Is that true?
That would not surprise me for a moment.
That's kind of scary, actually.
Mind you, I haven't seen them in several days. So,
People change. People change.
I start to like lazily and lethargically like sort of lean on Delia a little bit and like, I'm glad you're okay.
She kind of leans back and puts her head on your head and says, am I?
I kind of attempt to give her a hug.
She kind of gives you a weird kind of hug, Mobius strip kind of hug as well, and says, has anyone ever told you you're adorable?
I don't hear that a lot, but when I do, it means everything.
You're adorable.
That means everything.
Picks up a thing of whiskey and says, this is too adorable.
I pick up a visibly empty cup, but I'm too drunk to notice.
Okay, clinks glasses and downs it, then the minute you look like you've done yours too, puts her head back on yours.
I'm definitely starting to drift off.
Okay. But you're fine. You're kind of in some sort of comfortable, cushiony part of her side there as you're sitting next to her.
Snuggling.
There you go. Guys, you go back to the pantry and there's water has been kind of recirculated.
Yeah, it's not all filled with blood and whatnot. Oh, is it Beth? Isn't?
It's the old
Beth?
woman who's back there with you at the moment.
Oh, yes. Could you? I was wondering. Do you have a small piece of wood, like yay big? You know, just a cut off from the stove or something.
I could get you that.
Oh yeah, just I wanted to whittle something while I was, soaking to relax myself and, just take my mind off things. And,
Oh, your friends were drinking back here, so I figured, okay.
Oh well, I'm not going to say no to that as well, but
Okay. By the way,
I'm not a one-dimensional kind of person. I'm not all about drinking,
You've already been drinking, haven't you?
I have really need to cut back just a touch. Hence why I'm doing something manual dexterity, so I can focus.
You really think using a sharp
bathtub.
object is the thing you should be doing to cut back?
I think I'll be fine.
Okay. I'll get you the wood.
Thank you.
If you need anything, my name's Mrs. Wiggins. You just let me know.
Zwiggins.
Zwiggins, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Zwiggins.
And she goes and gets you a block of wood and another tankard of ale and a tankard of whiskey as well, and puts on the shelf.
Tankard of whiskey, Jesus Christ.
Next to you. Well, that's what your tall thin friend had. And I just noticed that it's easier than constantly filling up the little glasses with the amount you two drink.
Yeah, this is efficient. I appreciate it. Don't mind my shock.
No shock about it. I've been doing this for years. I'll leave you to your bath.
Thank you.
And she steps out. Okay, so food-wise, everybody get their fill?
I've absolutely fallen into like a drunken food coma, so yeah.
Okay. Vivolda, outside, the carriage has been brought to the side. The horses are tied off. You're kind of surprised at the number of bolts that are actually in the back, and even some of them along the side of the carriage. And a couple of them even in the wheel. There's quite a few. So it takes you a little while. Some of them you end up breaking off and leaving the heads still in there.
Whoops. I'll just cut them off with my sword or something. Pull them out, yeah.
Okay, you can make quick work of that.
As people, because it's morning now, right?
Right, people are starting to move about.
Carry on.
Okay.
Thanks now, one by one.
We'll say that you finish up doing that. Gaius, you finish with your bath whenever you're ready. Everyone, Nikita is out cold. Reed is lying in bed naked with his bunny. And everyone else is... well, he didn't. He just said, I'm going to lie down with my bunny and go to sleep.
I had a towel.
Your towel was bunched up with your clothes.
Oh, gosh.
I had to dry off before I fell asleep.
With a towel as a blanket, then. So, Gaius, it's you, Eldred, Butt Trumpet, and Vivalda. Before, what's the plan?
I would say if Viv comes in and sees Butt Trumpet and Delia asleep at the table still, she would kind of prop Delia up on one shoulder and then just carry Butt Trumpet in the other arm and try to walk them up the stairs up to the rooms.
Okay, I think you can manage that probably. Delia's not a big woman.
Okay. So I'd probably listen to see if Nikita's awake in her room.
Oh, you can hear her, but she's not awake.
Okay. I would not knock on the door then, and I would just take them both into my room. Let Delia sleep on the bed, and then put Butt Trumpet like on the pillow on
Okay.
the bed,
Okay.
and then I would go into a trance on the floor next to the bed.
Okay. That sounds good. Gaius?
Well, after I've had the bath, I walk out. Eldred, I see you and I are the only ones still up.
Yeah.
So, I guess they're. Well, I hope Butt Trumpet just doesn't throw up all over the room she's in again, like she did the last time. Hopefully, she controls her liquor this time.
I think they'll be okay.
Well,
I hope.
well, if not, I'll just make sure there's a bucket of clean water again. And sooner or sooner, someone will learn their lesson. I guess we called it a day for now, and then.
Oh, it's definitely day.
Well, call it an 8-hour rest, and then we probably need to attack that missing kids sewers bit that we didn't do the last time we were down there.
So get some rest, and then we'll attack the missing kids.
It's phrasing, but yeah, something like that.
Okay. I'm just going to finish up here. I don't want to waste any of this, so I'll...
Oh, yeah, well, at which point, Guys kind of looks around, sees, like, stuff that would probably be okay, and then just, like, scoops it into a pouch, ties it off. He's like, I'm sure Reed's going to eat this later or something.
Eldred says I was actually talking about all the whiskeys, but yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. At which Guy says, like, like, and now I go to sleep.
Eldred kind of is like,
There's still some
I guess
there.
that takes care of that. Oh,
No,
yeah,
no,
you're right.
I left you a few. I didn't.
Oh my god, that tastes like peppermint. He says, who
No, that's
did
good for your
that?
sore throat.
That's
Sore
not good
throat.
for anything.
It's good for sore throats, and it tastes good, too. I don't... The fuck is people have problems with peppermint?
Just not with whiskey.
It's good. It's fine. It's whatever. People have got bad tastes now, apparently.
That's a bad taste. You're right.
At which point, the guy just goes muttering up the stairs about people not liking peppermint for some reason.
This from the wine wizard, he says, and then he follows you up afterwards and goes. And I think that'll probably be a good place to call it a night.
Oh no. What will the party get into later?
Intrigue.
Hangovers. Mostly hangovers.
Oh, you know what? Before we go, Butt Trumpet, give me a Constitution saving throw with advantage, just to be sure, because you didn't drink anywhere near what you did before. But just to be sure,
and they did eat food,
and you ate food after already drinking a fair amount, but
With advantage, you say?
with advantage, I'm going to give you that. You were fine. You sleep through the night.
I think I
No vomit
gave them
today.
advantage. Yeah, Viv's not going to wake up mid-trance covered in
Yeah.
rancid wine.
Sleep through the day.
Whatever. No matter of respect. It's night somewhere.
This is true. Okay, friends, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Now we have Butt Trumpet back safe and sound. What will happen next? The sewers? Will there be repercussions of Butt Trumpet's disappearance? And what of all these other things that have been going on? Tune in next week. Same Grognard time, same Grognard channel. And we wish all of you a very happy new year and hope that 2022 is healthy and safe and prosperous for each and every one of you. And with that in mind, whatever you do, whoever you're with, please be kind.